What you think?
I like it.
You like it?
Recognize it now?
Does it look the same? Kinda? A little bit different?
Hello and welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage, and this is the finale of our one-part series. One-episode series. That went really well. Building this 1986 Chevy square body C10. It came from a friend and the story just kind of kept getting worse and worse. It's been a 12-year project. There's been a lot of money paid, a lot of work not received. But by the end of this episode, we're gonna have a running, driving, completed family heirloom. Or at least that is the goal. Now, initially this came in just for that Holley Sniper 2 install, and we discovered we needed to put the whole truck together. And we have been doing that. A lot of little things, a lot of small improvements, and we're down to just a couple small things. But that is where this episode is gonna be extra special. If you've remembered in the past, I've done some other people's vehicles. We've done that F100 revival, and the reveal isn't part of it. I've signed up for being on camera and doing all of this funny bouncing around and talking, but I don't want to drag my friends in unwillingly. Well, Kevin and his family have been incredibly grateful. You guys watching has empowered me to make this thing everything they wanted and dreamed, and even more so. So when I told him, hey, it's time for you guys to come see it, he wanted to share that whole experience with you. So that's gonna be part of this episode, and I'm really looking forward to it because it's a big emotional payoff, the bow on top of a project series, and I can't wait for that. But what is that buzzing? It's too cold for flies. It's not a fly, it's a segue to today's sponsor. That's right, we're talking about Brunt again today. One of my absolute favorite workwear brands ever. I've gone through a lot of boots in 42 years, and a lot of pants and shirts, and been through them all. But I do want to address something really quickly. There seems to be an epidemic of other brands coming around and influencers advertising it, but their workwear is always clean and spotless. I'm just gonna say, taking their purchasing advice is kinda like taking a food review from that influencer who never actually eats her food.
I got a sub. I haven't had one in so long.
So let me address real quick. Yes, I'm wearing a brand new Chevlin hoodie. There's a brand new pair of beautiful Martin pants and a brand new Marin shoe in front of you. Well, let me show you something real quick. First, my 8-inch high Marin boots here with the Brunt composite safety toe. They're pretty weathered, but I've got something even a little bit better. My Marin from 2023. When they first came out with size 16 boots and I could finally actually get a pair, that's these guys. I have run them through the ringer. They've had diesel dumped on them. They've been covered in oil enamel paint, and to get that paint off, I cleaned them with gasoline. Yeah, not good for a boot. And they've never been cared for, which you can see, you can get a Brunt care kit and actually take good care of your stuff. So as you can tell, it is a product I use. I'm not just taking a paycheck to say, oh look, it's nice and shiny. These are my favorite boots that I've purchased. They have a whole lineup from the Marin, whatever your trade, whatever you need, they're gonna have a boot that works for you. Pullover laced, high tops, different types of composite toes, oil resistant ratings, water resistant ratings, high temperature ratings. They have a boot that can fit into every trade and industry, but you can also keep them at home. And it's not just boots. Again, I'm wearing the Chevlin hoodie. I've got one that I got last year. It is so comfortable. It is so nice. I was reluctant to start working in it, but I finally started using it what it was for, and it took all the abuse, and it's still nice and comfortable. Also, when it comes to work pants, you guys know we're tough on them. If you're a welder, a fabricator, mechanic, you work in the field, you go through pants a lot. These Martin pants, you can get in heavy duty with reinforced knees, down at the ankles. They're phenomenal and incredibly comfortable, and they are tough. I've torn my fair share of pants, but let me show you something. These bad boys right here. Now, I get it, they are rough, but I've had them 1 year now. I've done welding, I've cut cars apart, put them back together. They have had oil dumped all over them. They've been put through the ringer, and I've had no crotch blowouts or any unfortunate, moments where things are no longer private. They have done phenomenal, and that's one pair for a year. So all of that rant to stop and say, I stand behind Brunt. They support the channel, and the boots are going to support your feet. The pants are going to be comfortable to wear. Their hoodies, their whole work lineup. I am a firm believer in the product, and I'd love for you guys to go ahead and get on board and join the Brunt Club. It's a club that's pretty comfortable. You can get your boot, try them on. If they don't work, reach back out to them. They're going to work with you to make it right. So all the information's in the description box down in the comment section. It's there for you. Head on over to the Brunt Workwear website. They've got everything you're going to need to be comfortable working, and it's at a very affordable price. Also, when you check out, use code questionable10. You're going to save $10 off any order over $60. Trust me, you're going to love them. Leave your comment below too if you've got some Brunt Workwear and share your experience. I absolutely love them. Again, it punches so far above its price point, and proof is in the pudding. Thank you again to Brunt Workwear for sponsoring this episode, and honestly being in almost every episode, because I believe in the product. It's a product I use every day. What are we trying to get done today? Well, we have AC lines to make. We have seats, carpet, interior to put in. We have wiring to finish. We've got some suspension to look over, a sway bar to fix, among many, many other things. There's a whole lot. It's going to be fun. Also, we ended up kind of under one of those crunch timelines again. Initially, when we talked about this date, I laughed and said, hey, we're going to have plenty of time, but you know, my life got in the way and it slowed me down a little bit. So it's not YouTubers being dumb. It's just real life. You guys have the same things happen at home. You look and say, hey, 7 weeks, that's plenty of time. And then you lose 6 of them. So we're going to thrash. We're going to get this thing together. We're going to use some lasers. We're going to use some old tack. It's awesome. We're going to get this truck put together. But none of that happens until I open this hood and start making some AC lines. So let's get going to that. All right, it is time to make the AC lines on this truck. It's relatively simple. You've just got to make sure you know what line needs to go where. You run it in the correct diameter hose, and you have the right tools and fittings. And ta-da, it's easy. Also, you're gonna need service fittings. I've got mine set up right off the compressor. It works well, but one thing is I like having my high side right before your expansion valve or orifice tube, as close as you can there. So we've got our 45s coming right off the compressor head. Our low side, this is a little tricky on the old Chevys. It's a 12 nut with a 10 hose. Then you come 8 into your AC condenser, and then you run out. Now this is a hose I already got kind of made to length, that one there. Now we need to cut down our other ones. When you're cutting a hose, if you notice, you can bottom it out, and you need to make sure you got little peepholes that when you're measuring and getting your length of your hose, it's gonna go all the way in. You're gonna bottom out. You do wanna bottom out. If you don't, you're not gonna get a good crimp, and you're gonna run the risk of it popping off. We're gonna get that marked up. This one I know is all the way in, and well, I say that, let me turn. Yep, visually make sure, and then set our length. And this is where it can get tricky, because obviously if you get it too long, it's not gonna run clean. If you get it too short, well, you gotta go buy more hose. So, one other thing to consider too when you're getting all of this stuff in place is, do you have to crimp your hose in a clocked manner? And what I mean by that is if you have two 90s, they might need to be opposite of each other, or these 90s and 45s. We're not gonna be able to crimp on the truck. So I'll show you a little trick that I use when you have directional crimps. All right, that's bottomed out. It's gonna do what I want it to do. And then this, it's gonna go like that so these don't chafe each other. There. You wanna cut this stuff as square as possible as well. I think it's close to time that I should get a new blade. These Cornwell crimp hose cutters. I literally bought these things, when was the last time I had a Cornwell? I think Firestone, when I almost first moved to Georgia. So 2004-ish. It's done pretty well for itself, I would say. So I'll slide that in, and hopefully I didn't mess that up. Also, when you're running your radiuses, hoses, things like that, you don't want kinks, you don't want anything too crazy going on with them. Otherwise, you can create what's called pressure drops, and your AC is gonna be ACing not where it's supposed to. I'm gonna go grab my little trick, and I'm gonna show you how we make sure these get crimped right. This is a top secret trade secret never shown before. It's called marking your hoses on your fittings. So make sure you're fully seated. That's where you want. And then you just draw 2 lines. Fully seated. Draw 2 lines. Fully seated. And you draw 2 lines. May seem kind of crazy that the magician's revealing his secrets, but you know, it is a very helpful tool. Keeping gold and silver around is also very beneficial to the subject, because you can see those on most anything you're going to mark. And when you pull it off, you know the fitting is where you want it to be. So I'll get these pulled off the truck, and then we're going to go crimp everything. All right, we've got our Master Cool kit here, borrowing this one from our buddy Randy. I've got one, I couldn't find it. So these are a special die. Make sure they sit in nice and square how they're supposed to. So you take your hose, get her lined up in there. Our marks, even though this is a straight hose and doesn't matter, this maybe wasn't the best vice setup. I was trying to make it interesting for filming. Tell you what, it makes it interesting for working. They have a press line in it, and we both have found best experience just going ever so slightly beyond it. Just beyond it. So, super firm crimp. Our hose is still in place. We're ready to go do another one. And there you have it, crimped and installed. I don't have them fully tightened yet because I need to add some oil, run a vacuum, and then start charging the system. We're about $175 in fittings and ends and hose. So, given the totality of this area, I feel like it looks good. I had contemplated getting the factory hard line to go into the evaporator box, but then it wouldn't match anything else. At least here, we have heater core hoses flowing through. We got AC, some feng shui. If you just suddenly introduce one random aluminum pipe, you ruin it all. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Whenever you're doing AC work, it's important to know how much oil's in the system. You can, at some point, get way too much oil. Basically, as long as you don't go absolutely ridiculous, you're not going to kill a system, you're just going to make it not very efficient. Ideally, you pour it into each component. That's not really an option for us, unfortunately. The way these lines work, I'm thinking I'm going to pour it down my high pressure to get it to go into the condenser, and we'll get some back into the compressor. Then we tighten the lines tight, pull our vacuum on everything, and away we go. Now, granted, I lost a lot of time being useless after my mom's dying, but it's almost time to be done. Like, unveil this truck, and I had so much time. There's no pressure, and now there's pressure. It doesn't matter how well you plan. It always seems to go that way. Something in life comes along, but we'll get her done. Also, this system, depending on compressor type, stock compressors go between 8 and 10 ounces. This being a modern compressor, plus the fact that we don't have the 2 kind of factory-esque accumulators on the lines themselves, I'm going with 8 ounces. Most oils are sold in 8-ounce containers, so. Anyone who's built like custom stuff, it always is insane. All these little steps you don't even think about. We're oiling the compressor and it's trying to push them out, so I better stop. Because I need that oil. Then next is the exciting part. We pull a vacuum for a really long time because that beautifully rebuilt AC box he got, the one thing I don't love about it is by him pre-assembling it, the receiver dryer is open to atmosphere. And I always judge a good receiver dryer should sound like a Coke can when you crack it open. Something else I noticed is when they were in, whoever did the engine work for him really banged up the core support. You can see oil pan hammering. I made fun of this little crescent wrench. Came with the X tool. It's actually surprisingly perfect. Its hand feel is terrible. Just the way the weight distribution is. But it is so useful. Who would have thought a 5-inch wrench with a 36 millimeter wide head would be so useful and desirable. All of you gutter minds, you can chuckle all you want right there. I know you already are, but I try to stay above brow. Kind of like Disney and Pixar films. There's jokes the kids will get when they're older, and the adults can laugh at now. We get to go from mechanical things to, I guess we'll do more interior. We got to get the last of the interior lights lined up, holes in the carpet, seat belts back down. Also, also, make sure you tighten, but don't gorilla all of these fittings. They're aluminum on steel. They need to be tight. They don't need to be gorillaed. I think maybe it's all together now. Now it's time to see if I can pull a vacuum in the system. Now, one thing we're gonna do real quick. This is gonna need a lot of cleaning, the seat. And we had talked about getting a brand new seat, but we went back and forth. They're expensive. This isn't in terrible condition. The foam's pretty good. Covers are rough. It used to have a Mexican blanket cover. That's what they're called. Don't get angry with me. That's their name. That was a little bit rough. Kevin found almost the exact same one. So we are going to clean this seat really good, recover it, just to kind of keep one more connection to pop on, not just replace everything. We're gonna keep just one more little piece riding along. But one thing I wanna do as well, these slides aren't awful, but they're also not good. So I'm gonna pop these off and we're gonna go ahead and clean them up a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm gonna fully blast them or if we're just gonna wire wheel and hit them with some paint. But you do see a little bit of the slide depending on your seat position. And you know, that's kind of ugly. Also, if you have a bench seat and when you grab this, it's not pulling that side, it's likely just this wire is broken. It's so simple. Slides through one of your hog rings and connects the two sides. I love simple, easy stuff. So, gonna pop these off. We're gonna get them cleaned up. And then we'll get them back on, and then we'll start really trying to clean that. You ever have one of those moments where you're like, I really want to clean this, but I don't want to sandblast it because that's going to get junk in all the little holes. And then you remember you have a laser. So that's before, and that is a wipe down away from paint. That's, I could even get it a little better. I just don't want to put a lot of heat in it. They already have a curve to them. But, I mean, check this out. And they are ready for paint. And I cleaned my table in one spot a little bit too because it was looking rough. Now I kind of have to do the whole thing, but I'm thrilled having this thing. I'm between the cutting, the welding, and definitely the cleaning. Lasers are kind of becoming the gift to automotive restoration. My other option, putting it in the blasting cabinet. If I soda blast it, then I can water dip it and dissolve everything. But I also have to neutralize it. Or we do traditional sandblasting, and then we have to flush it because that sand and that glass is gonna get in all these little crevices. Or we just make them new with light. And just like pretty much sandblasting, it's only gonna hit what you can see, which you may, is technically a bad thing, that you're only able to coat and treat and clean what's visible. But sandblasting's the same way. If the nozzle can't hit it, you can't clean it. We're gonna hang those babies up and properly rebuild them with some spray paint. We're not just doing the quick rebuild, we're like cleaning them. The slides are all good, the releases are all good, so now that they're clean, we're gonna put that paint on there. Oh man, that looks so much better. Part of me wishes I painted the bolts, but we don't need to get carried away. This looks 10 times better for something you don't even see. We squirted a little bit of grease in the rails, our cable's reconnected, so now we're gonna go back over there and work on putting our Mexican blanket on it. That is what it's called. Please don't be offended. And get this thing tucked in. I was amazed. You saw in the video, well, maybe Dwayne will play it right now. When I dumped that out, that was round 3 of vacuuming out this seat. And it doesn't look great, but we're covering it. And we were just trying to get the funk out of it. Not quite the bad obsession we play funk right now, but just it smells 38-year-old. It's 86, I was 83, I'm gonna be 40. 39-year-old stink out of the truck. You know, it happens, it sits. It's a truck, it's meant for working. Now it's meant to look cool. I'm sorry, they're now saddle blankets. Now one thing we do need to do is we have to poke holes for our seat belts, the strings to make it nice and tight. Yeah, that is really stinking close to the old one. I did a good job tracking that down. I lied. Look at that. Improvement. We have holes for our seatbelts. Does it really? And it has pockets for things in the front. Man, have we come a long way with these seat covers. To be excited about stupid things. But you start getting it loosely fitted, and then it's get your strings, start drawing it tight. The front of the cover should have 4 loops. The back should have 3 loops. And the side should have 2 loops each. Listen, after the X-Tool fiasco, I'm just gonna take a second. Place the cover, or tie an end of your cord to each of the loops on the sides and back of the cover. Basically, what we're trying to do at the end of the day is get enough ropes along the top or across there that will then, on the back, pinch these together, and then on these, pull these around to one of these without pulling the fabric too much. There you go, you know? I'm pretty happy that line's a little crooked, but I've got it as tucked in as good as everything wanted to tuck in with our seatbelts lined up, and I feel like we've made a pretty good improvement on the seat. And again, little storage pockets. So in the back, what I ended up doing was tying these strings, running them across, and I used my square knots right down the middle. So we're gonna trim up all of these knots. I didn't want to pull it too tight because it still has to move and do that, and you're gonna scoot around on a bench, so I had to be careful with that, but that's ready to go in. But first, I need to make holes in the carpet, get the seat belts bolted down, get the holes for the bench made. If I was really smart when I was doing the sound deadening, I would have put the bolts in and cut around ahead of time. Remember, this isn't the really smart garage. Sometimes it's the really dumb garage. So what am I doing to find my holes in all this insanity? Well, thankfully, this carpet kit has kind of pre-cut. They're not exactly cut, but they're more or less formed where the holes will be. Seat belt, seat mount, Up here, it's a little trickier. There's a big old oval cutout. So I'm starting to work through and find and sink some bolts and get my parts through so then I can confirm exactly where to cut on our carpet and put it all back. Give this a nice little cleanup once it's in too, because that's a little rough. So once I find out roughly where a hole should be, you just come in and just gently start poking, and then you find your hole. I come in, kind of run this a little bit. Oh, once you've run that a little bit, you can come back with a razor blade, and boom, that is where one inner seat belt mounts. Man, actually, that came out good enough. Boom, exposed hole. So our next hole will be over there. We'll come in here. So we'll just come in, and then that's solid. There we go. Got our hole. Boom. So now that's started, you come in, get that started going. This one probably will take the razor blade, but you get how it goes. Get that all cleaned up so your bolt can drop down in there and be happy. And then we're on to making the hot holes in the carpet. You know, or I could have just made those, like left them open before I put it together. Alrighty, we're making holes in carpet. This is what I do. So this carpet comes pre-marked and the holes are pretty good. We could just run them, but what I like to do, fit it out and stretch it the best you possibly can. I've got my bolt here, and I've got this socket that is, usually I go for 2 sizes bigger than the bolt head. Some people make the holes so precise that it's only this size. Because what you're bolting down is generally going to be, you know, larger than this pad, your seat belts, your seat rails. Maybe I'm just not good enough. I always find that even with my best placement, I still need a little wiggle room. And if you make the holes in your carpet exactly this big, you don't really have wiggle room. So you get your bolt, you run it most all the way down, lay things out, kind of get it stretched to how it will need to land. Kind of work your way through, make sure everything's close. I tend to wear a glove because I don't want to burn my fingies. Also, yes, this will stink. But you get her pulled back, get you your torch, get it nice and hot. The reason you don't want to just cut around your bolt holes is, generally speaking, the carpet can then sometimes pull or pill weirdly. So by burning it, it's like with the end of the rope where you singe it, so you kind of melt it all together so it won't end up pulling on you. Get it nice and hot. Make sure you're... Boom. Then you can sometimes lift, you might need to lift your carpet up, but nice, super perfect circular hole. Carpet's gonna stay exactly how it's supposed to. We've got a nice bit of room to move it around and make sure it's placed perfectly. Also, I strongly suggest get that little carpet round out before doing your next one. Otherwise, you're gonna melt it more and it's gonna be super stinky. I gotta do that 2 more times, and then we can bolt some seat belts down. Then shortly there, I'm trying to decide how much more I want to do. You know, I still have to clean that and get these back in. If I want to do it with the seat bench or not, who knows? I hope you finish and work right, because It's a 50-hour print. Hours later, let's get it out and see how it did. That's gonna be what we gotta run for now. I tried some of your 3D printing tricks, but that first layer just did not want to adhere. So is that print everything I hoped and dreamed it would be? Not quite. We are almost there. I've got a little bit of warping, but it fits in beautifully. It's nice and secure. It gives that Holly Terminator mount, or stealth mount, sniper. Terminator, it's the same 3.5 inch, I'm sorry. But we can also slide it in and out. Yeah, there. Pull it out if you need to. We have access to that memory card. So I'm kind of pleased. We used our Creality 3D scanner. We used our Creality 3D printer and a lot of ABS. But I've got something that looks pretty cool, keeps it nice and readable, and I can improve on it. We're almost there, but it works really good right now. Cutting a little bracket out. I don't know if it was intentional or just an update, but before I could do it, I had to do a pre-training course. Well played, X-Tool. Well played. That little bit where I made the funny joke about X-Tool. And I said, hey, good job, good funny joke. And then you didn't see what I was doing. It helps when I hit record. So I'm gonna show you the final project and we're gonna talk about that real quick. So we're in the truck. We talked about adding some charging ports. Most commonly, people will just mount them on the bottom. It works, but I hate the way that looks. So, boom, look at that. Such a simple thing, but I'm really proud of what we did. How do I have para and magni for on my hands? Jeez. But what we did is we quickly drew up the rectangle, couple holes. We laser cut that panel. Then we got the laser welder, burnt it in, and gave it a coat of black paint. So we have a super clean. Also, what's really nice again with the laser welding, it minimally affects the paint heat. It keeps it very concentrated, so we didn't screw up the paint any, and we have a totally concealed USB-A, C, cigarette port. I really hope that never gets used. I got rid of the ashtray, but I'm pleased with how that came out. So we're gonna do something very important, and that's fix the glove box. GM, in their wisdom of making a affordable truck to buy, neglected to put a hinge on the glove box, relying only on the plastic. You can buy reproductions, $60, $70, $80 out there. They're okay, but I can't get one soon enough. And two, we still have the original stickers. So I kind of want to keep those. So we are going to try to fix this with a piano hinge. So about $20 worth of stuff. So that's the bottom half of our hinge. So first things first is we got to get the lock out, and inside, gonna be really hard to see. Inside there, you got your little window with tabs to push. I don't think it has to be locked. Get it rotate. Oh, I lied. Make sure your latch is locked so it rotates. And there's two of these, so you're gonna push, pull out a little, then you gotta grab another one. Oh. Something that's not moved in many eons. It's probably a little sticky. Come on. I know all of you square body guys are laughing at me. It's push pin and pull lock. I'm not doing that, Brung. It's only one window. That is how it comes out. I am sure of it. It is even pushing in. Why you do this to me, truck? Maybe there's a security lock? I will say, I'm gonna appreciate one of you guys to comment what the heck I'm doing wrong. Everything in my knowledge base says I'm doing this right. You push in the little tab, the lock cylinder pulls right out. You push in the second tab, Bob's your uncle. Maybe Bob's not your uncle, but you know, that's the phrase. Okay. It's really old, so it needs a little motivation. There we go. Always feels good to realize you're not totally crazy. There. So you see, these are those two tabs we were having to push in through that small slot to get it to slide out. This also would be your lock cylinder if you had one. Then it's unscrew. You could Allen key it, but generally speaking, this shouldn't be that tight. Never claim to be an expert. That's all I got to say. I don't think any of you mistook me for an expert when it comes to these trucks. One thing I was curious about, everyone complains and says these are awful to separate. But then what's funny is you look at the Classic Industries video about them and they're like, why does everyone say that's hard? Unless the key cylinder was kind of a pain in the butt, but I mean, that happens pretty easy. So now we got it off again. Original stickers, it's just, that's special. There's reproductions, but we want to preserve the original. Now I'm going to stop anyone who says, why don't you just plastic weld this back together? It has to flex. So my thought process is, we'll cut this to the same length. It'll land here. And then we can use those screws there. Get it nice and secure. And then we will drill matching holes from this into here so we don't end up with just holes everywhere. It's just standard hardware store piano hinge. I need to go visit my friends at Boss Hog Converters again. I had a really nice knife that I have abused horribly and it's not so sharp anymore. I guess in theory I could just sharpen it. Also my experience, any knife nut, the moment you are kind of in earshot mentioning you might need something sharpened, they get real excited because every one of them have bought that $500 fancy tool. I'll match that up, go give her a snip. We'll actually end up just a smidge shorter because when we're cutting it, we don't want to be in the middle of a hinge. So right there's our cut point. So pause, to be continued. Ta-da! Cut down. Now, one thing I wanted to do was potentially use this as like a trim piece on top, but I don't think that's going to work out very well, unfortunately. Just spacing, widths. I could cut it down, I could print another one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little pinch, and then I'm going to just spritz down with paint so we can transfer our holes that way. Get those drilled, drill and mount, have a glove box. So there you go. So we're going to punch these holes. As you can tell, some of them are going to be a little bit tricky, but won't be too bad. We'll get those made. Also, I'm going to go grab one of the original screws, so I make sure I make them the right size. Then we'll mount that up. Just tiny little steps to improve and keep sort of original. Again, we're not restoring this truck. We're making it almost resto mod. They want to be able to use it, drive it every day, and preserve as much of the original as possible while making it functional. And I say this is a good compromise. AC charging time. Now, one thing in the past, you saw me use these gauges, and a couple of you commented that I let air into the system. I have one can that's partially empty that I purge. You can pop the Schrader valve to make sure we have Freon in this line. Also, if you position your Schrader valves correctly, you don't have that problem. But we're going to introduce one can here. We're going to open our low side. It's going to start filling everything. Powered machines are nice because they will push Freon in. That's obviously not something I have. So we're about to find out if the electricals and all the goodness works on our AC all at once and see how well she starts for us. Kind of feel like jump box is about to be needed. Bring you back whenever I figure out. Well, my starter's no longer working. That should have not been that hard. I'm not going to be upset. I unplugged 3 things, plugged them back in, and I mean, you can't be upset because it's running, and it wasn't a big problem, but I didn't have the camera on. Hadn't fired in a week and it. So that's the process. We're going to do that a couple more times. And then we're going to go on to the next bit, which is dressing up a little bit more. Clean and repolish the engine bay. Then maybe my print will be done and we can get the cluster in, do the 1 or 2 underneath things and start driving. First drive, so far the truck has gone up and down a driveway. Don't have much, we got a 4-mile drive to get it over to the car show the night before, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Maybe. Well, turn signals have come and gone. Transmission, you sometimes get more than second gear. If you go and drive, you have first gear. Vacuum modulator is good and the adjustment's good because I remember it being mentioned as a problem. So I took a look at it and no, those are good. So there's definitely going to be a punch list, but that's a good sound. New problem. Oh boy. First drives at night are always the best ones. It's not gotten any better. Wiggling the wheel and playing with the high beams kind of sort of helps. So the fact we're having turn signal problems as well as high beam problems, I'm suspect of our vintage switch here. That's what I'm suspect. We're almost there, so we're good. We are parked in our signature parking spot. We only spun a little bit in the dew after disco party lights. They decided to work perfectly fine, so now to catch a couple hours sleep and get back in the morning. This thing looks so cool. Drives good. Punch list got really long, but that's okay.
At the C10 Swap Meet in Cleveland, Georgia, the family reunion wasn't just people. It was generations connected by one truck. Kevin's daughter JP had no idea she'd be seeing her great Papa's truck restored for the very first time, alive and running. His daughter JP has always loved her great Papa's truck, the one she'll someday call her own. The moment she finally recognized it as her Pawpaw's truck, you could see what keeping the truck in the family really means.
What you think?
I like it.
You like it?
Recognize it now?
Does it look the same? Kinda? A little bit different?
You want to start it?
You want to hear it run? Let's crank it up and see what she sounds like.
You can do it. You just got to turn the key.
It's up in there.
Okay, wait for a couple seconds. You hear that fuel pump?
Second.
Now go real hard.
Not real hard.
What do you think?
You like it? Look, we even got air conditioning. We're gonna fire up Pawpaw's truck. Turn the air on. Cruise, baby. We finally get the driver. Man. A long time waiting, buddy.
Starts easy, doesn't it? We got a few things to figure out. You were right about the transmission.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on the drive over, in drive, you sometimes have drive. Second gear, you always have that second gear. First gear, it will spin the tires or it spins the transmission.
One or the other.
But it runs great. We got a lot of little things to still go, but it looks like a truck.
I can handle little. It looks like a truck, that is nice.
We were going to add a power port,
Yeah.
but I hate just mounting them somewhere. So you want to open the old ashtray?
Open the ashtray, Jay.
How do you do it?
Push it from the bottom. All right. So now we're good to go. Say our iPad died on the way over here. It was a whole thing.
Well, now you can.
So now we good. Need a little entertainment for the ride.
So I cut that with the laser cutter and laser welded it, so we kept as much of the original paint.
Nice.
Also, remember how your glove box hinge was broken?
Correct.
So you can open that now.
Look at that. Look at that.
You had all the original stickers. Anytime you replace one of these, because it's a plastic hinge,
Right.
you lose your stickers. That's an important part of keeping the truck. So I got a piano hinge, custom drilled it and mounted the piano hinge. So that way that still works.
It's so wild to see a dash on this. As long as I've known this truck, it hasn't had a dash on it.
Does not fit well on the instrument cluster side, but
That's all right.
you know.
That is all right.
So now you got carpet, there's sound deadening under there.
It's so cool to have this seat cover on
Oh
here.
yeah.
I love this.
It matches, like I put them side by side, it matches perfect, except you have pockets in this one.
Hey, we got pockets. But baby, Pawpaw always had this seat cover on his truck as long as I remember.
Really?
Yeah, and that's why it was important to me to put this seat cover back on here. Because this is one of the most things I remember about this truck. Riding around Pawpaw. Going to McDonald's to get an ice cream.
But you want to go for a little drive around the block? Like I say, it won't be perfect because of the transmission, but you can drive it and I'll ride, or I'll drive and you ride, however you guys want to.
It's training. It's up to you, man. But if training is finicky,
We're not going to make it worse.
Okay. All right.
So
you want to go for a ride? I'll say you drive.
Okay.
Finally get to take a ride, dude.
So let's see if it will have a normal drive. All right, hey.
Hey.
You guys are good luck.
I've been telling her that for a long time. Oh man, it's good for the soul. Well, she'll do a burnout, huh?
Then the transmission was like, all right, well,
That's enough. Heck yeah. Oh,
you got
man.
a lot of truck when you finally are ready to drive. This thing, it's a good combination of parts.
You gonna turn some heads in the high school parking lot. Hey, it steers.
Oh yeah, the sway bar.
That's a nice change.
Little spark knock. I got the dial some time ago. Yeah, the transmission's giving us one gear. We'll get it, you know. You said it was built in the backyard by someone, right? Long ago?
Long ago.
So, but
Long ago.
in the fourth part of our final, one-part video series, we'll get the transmission working perfect. I'm gonna try. The problem with this, to make that fit better, I have to cut the bezel.
Yeah.
And I'm not cutting an original bezel to fit an aftermarket dash.
Yeah. I couldn't agree
So
more.
we can walk around the swap meet. Maybe we can find us a good dash
Okay.
or another bezel we can cut up so we can keep Pawpaw's original.
Okay.
So.
I like it.
Your foot on that, make some noise with it. Just a little bit of rev. There you go.
Hit it, Gerald.
There you go.
Hey, what about that?
Holds temperature perfect.
Heck yeah. Oh man, a long time waiting on that, buddy. Sounds pretty racy. Jared said spicy. We got spicy too.
Yeah, sounds super racy.
Pawpaw's truck lives again, baby. It lives again.
You've actually gotten to ride in it. So next time soon, transmission and a little bit of wiring. You'll drive it away, hopefully with her next to you, and then she'll start driving it finally. So,
Oh man, I truly believe it is in the hands it was supposed to be in.
well, like you kind of pointed out, it's JP's truck to be JP's truck fixed by JP. So,
All about JP. So,
well,
miss you, Pawpaw.
thanks Kevin for coming out.
Thank you, Jared.
Thanks for sharing it. And
unreal.
like, I really appreciate you sharing the moment with everyone. Like I said, I told him, no pressure, didn't even ask, and he said he wanted to share it with all of you. So they're not just appliances, they're parts of family.
That it is. That it is. We will. This truck will be in my family is forever. I mean, forever. It'll never go anywhere. It means the world to me. As much as family and love vehicles, to have that is everything. Everything.
Well, all right, it is the next day, and we are here to get the truck and bring it back to the shop. And that was really cool. I'm very grateful that they decided to go ahead and share that experience of seeing the truck for the first time together. And when I say the first time together, Jocelyn's only known this truck. It's been a project trying to get fixed longer than she's been around. So it was so cool to take them on their first drive. But as projects always do, there's still a few more things that we have to get done and get right. The big one, really to me, the dashboard, it just fits awful. We're gonna come up with a better solution for that. Probably equally as big, getting this transmission working and shifting correctly so they can drive and enjoy it. But it looks amazing. Everyone at the show and swap meet really appreciated looking at it. It's a cool truck, it really is. And speaking of appreciation, Jazz and the Northeast Georgia C10 Owners Club, thank you for letting us invade and share this reveal experience at your show. It was quite nice. Weather was perfect, but unfortunately today it's a lot colder, windier, and breezier. So I'm gonna get in the truck. I'm gonna let Mrs. Questionable get in the nice, comfortable Escalade, and we're gonna get back to the shop. So I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices and get out and enjoy some shows. It's fun. It's maybe a little chilly, bring an extra jacket, but get out and drive them. We'll see you next time.